talking about that. Generic intro that goes. We're back with another One Piece related video reaction. Today we are doing top tier character designs, or One Piece fans were right by Mother's Basement. Last week I reacted to another video by Mother's Basement. It's right beside it, warning you not read One Piece. I'll leave that video right there. You're going to check out. I'll also link down below in the description. I'll also be able to list my channel with all the other One Piece related videos. I have every intention of watching One Piece. The reason why I haven't started watching it off camera is because I want to watch it on camera, because that's going to be on for a very, very long time, and I want to share that experience with as many of you as possible. Problem is, I would have to, you know, have an editor and worry about all that, because I do all of this myself. I've never had to work with an editor before, and that would just be a totally new experience for me. So it's taking a while to settle that up. I've received multiple offers from many people trying to do that. I'm trying to set up a plan for maybe like a test video edit to see just how they could edit it and see how many videos we can actually put out in a week, because it's gonna be a lot of videos, because it's like 1,042 episodes, I believe. But I have loved all the One Piece videos. It's gonna be great. Mother's Basement video was fantastic last week. You all showed so much support. I read every comment, so leave them down below. Shout out to patrons. They get videos there early. A lot of time. I have a paywall on the channel, because completely against paywalls, because I'm here to make you smile, not make you pay. But let's go ahead and jump on into character design. I think people have been suggesting this for a long time.
You might have noticed
but
there was a bit of a gap between my last two videos.
I didn't
gap in the entire history of this channel, in fact.
But people want me to react to other videos from you, like your Pokemon videos. I read all the comments.
Back, it's just been a super busy, stressful
Oh,
month.
Chris
But
pledged
also,
$4 Canadian dollars. Thank you, new patron. Get the videos there early.
And we all
No
know how
paywalls.
that goes. Look, guys, I didn't want the One Piece fans to be right, but the One Piece fans were right. This series
probably are, yeah.
is so good. And like
I know.
everyone
I want
who
to jump
starts
into
One
it.
Piece, I now
I was
want
actually
do
talking to
nothing but talk about it all the time.
a dancer at the club.
I'm not gonna
my
do
best
that.
friend works
There
at.
are
I
a
was
lot of
like,
other great anime that are equally worth
I want to watch
talking
One
about,
Piece.
probably.
She sat down and was like,
I don't want to forget
oh.
about them, but as a compromise, as I work my way through this massive story, I am definitely going to be talking about it a lot. And today, I'd like to kick that off by explaining why I think the series' character designs, from what I've read,
and that's like the very beginning. Like, you can tell how rough it is.
The best, like maybe out of anything ever. Tiny ass.
The Chopper.
Specifically, I'm going to talk about the 5 Straw Hats I've met so far and their initial appearances before they enter the Grand Line, as well as a few of the early villains.
Okay. So this is in the East Blue, which is like what, the first
the designs of all of the
like
unique
24 episodes, I want to say,
pirates and other supporting characters who've appeared in what I've read so far. If I did that, we'd literally be here forever. And not even the One Piece fans want that. I mean, they've got more One Piece to read and watch. I want this video, and the others I'm no doubt going to make, to serve as a showcase of just some of the reasons this series is so critically acclaimed, of the insane depth present behind seemingly everything that Eiichiro Oda does.
Because he's a genius.
It's a warning. An example of what this series does to people. It's too late for me now. I already feel myself becoming one of them. But maybe I can help inoculate some of you against it, just a little.
Against it? No.
For how good some parts of it are, before I inevitably become incapable of saying any sentence that's not a direct recommendation to watch or read it. And maybe, just maybe, if I do that, when you inevitably start reading it because I'm just that charismatic and convincing, one of you might not be totally blown away by everything that's great about it all at once, and you might be able to retain just enough of your sanity to help the rest of us. Please, it's our only hope.
No.
Anyway,
jump head first.
This video
Life's too short. Oh, Audible. Okay.
It can be hard
That's
to
cool.
find time to read in our busy modern corporate dystopia.
That's true. Hey, Ballers, I love that show.
Space age hands-free audiobook technology.
Metro 2033. Isn't that a video game?
On commutes, at the gym while playing video games, or
at the
while
gym. That's
unpacking your house and building furniture.
That's a cool setup.
Visit audible.com/basement or
an Amazon
basement
company.
to 500
When did Audible buy or not Audible buy when did Amazon buy Audible?
Video to hear more. When talking about One Piece's character designs, it's impossible to avoid discussing the series' distinct, some might say cartoony, art style, because the two are inextricably intertwined. Where the apparent majority of anime and manga aim for
I was like,
rough
this is not One
aesthetic
Piece.
Target of characters with realistic proportions, simplified features, and exaggerated eyes and mouths to maximize their overall expressiveness, One Piece kinda just does its own thing. Its characters are good,
and it works
with an incredibly wide range of
like if you look at something from One Piece, you can tell it's One Piece, even if you've never watched One Piece.
Body types, plus the one that almost all of the women have. That's the asterisk. This is
all the
still
same.
very much a shonen manga. That said, One Piece is also still very much a shonen manga. So while its characters wouldn't look out
I'm
of
still not
place
even
in
really sure what
Toontown,
that
the
means,
series
really.
still strives for a kind of anime realism. It's not just that this is how Eiichiro Oda happens to draw his characters, this is what their bodies actually look like. These strange bodies are treated and framed like solid objects with
what in the
meat and
world?
bones in them,
Ow.
not lines on a page. And the laws of physics affect them like they would objects of that shape and size in the real world. And this means that despite how doofy the characters can look, when things get serious, it feels real. And when fists start flying, they carry exactly as much weight behind them as the fists of the coolest looking shonen protagonist you can name. Often much more so, actually. Monkey D. Luffy has a mean left hook. There's also just something about the simple, appealing, larger-than-life look of this world and these characters that makes it that much more impactful when the series tugs on your heartstrings or sails into darker waters.
Or makes you cry over a boat, which apparently a lot of people did.
It's kind of horrific when you think about it. The government sucks. You can't go swimming because monsters will eat you. There are fishmen supremacists who can turn whole buildings over with their bare hands, colonizing human islands and killing and enslaving people. And also, I almost forgot, there's fucking pirates everywhere.
Everyone's a pirate.
Pirates are terrifying. The realism with which this series treats its fantastical escapist setting extends to how it handles its characters. The pirates we meet in One Piece, especially the Straw Hat crew, are complex, authentic human beings with complicated pasts and reasons for being the way they are that are reflected in how they carry themselves. Which is
incredible because Oda created all of them.
And what they choose to carry with them. They're also living action figures, like the really cool kind with the kung fu grip and other gimmicks. Every major character in One Piece has a different cool power or unique fighting style, an iconic
the dude in unicycle
they perform. And their whole bodies are designed to accentuate that action for maximum impact.
The fish people
look as cool as possible while they do it, while also reflecting the kind of person they are, their history, and what matters
shaking like crazy.
Most. Take Axe-Hand Morgan, for example.
Who?
I'll give you non-viewers exactly 1 second to guess how he fights.
With an axe for a hand?
Dude wouldn't look out of place in a G.I. Joe lineup. Shit, I can practically see the little flimsy plastic lever sticking out of his back that makes the axe swing. Axe-Hand
Toy Story
is
reference.
An action figure right down to his action figure name.
God,
but Axe-Hand Morgan is also a believable authoritarian douchebag, so high on toxic masculinity and desperate to project a cool,
that was in One Piece, the One Piece abridged I reacted to.
Bodybuilding nonsense
not even
guys
10 episodes.
Like that often take part in. He replaced his entire dominant hand with a fucking battle axe, and also grafted a metal cigar holder to his face in order to hide his butt chin, which he's super embarrassed about, and that's probably part of why he hates his son. Also,
his son has a butt chin. Okay,
short because it naturally grows out all silky and long, something
like that
also inherited. Dude's got some serious self-image issues, and none of that is explicitly stated in the text.
That's why he has an axe
it's
for a
all
hand.
conveyed through how he chooses to look and how he acts. And he's just a minor villain, so you can imagine
in the very beginning, I'm pretty sure,
characterized the recurring ones must be. Vanity is a running theme in the Straw Hats Rogues Gallery, or at least it seems to be among the villains of East Blue. And that makes a lot of sense given how these characters
a small portion.
All of them have some deep-seated insecurity that drives them to pursue power and do violence in order to validate themselves. This manifests in their designs in a variety of ways.
That was when they met Sanji.
Buggy the Clown and simply see yet another scary clown bad guy with knives. And he is that, but he's also, once again, a human being. One who had the misfortune to grow up around a bunch of tough, mean pirates with a naturally big, round, red nose. Buggy
that's his actual nose?
Entire life to prove that he's not just some clown, or at least acquire enough power to make those who say he is shut the fuck up.
You were born with a big red nose. You're destined to be a clown.
Thing by painting his face with a cool skull and crossbones to prove it doesn't really bother him, but also he'll murder you just for mentioning it, or even just for sounding like maybe you did. Most of that comes across in just one manga panel when Buggy is first introduced. The lazy swagger with which he slouches in his captain's chair, bare arm and simple t-shirt hanging out of his unnecessarily fancy fur coat, paints a perfect picture of who he is. A common thug
Get
with a
me a
nasal
map.
Napoleon complex, dressing up in the fineries of a pirate captain because that's what he thinks respect is. Oh, and speaking of the shirt,
Even has an
and
orange pirate
also
hat.
his socks, notice how the stripes around his limbs resemble the clean cuts made when he separates his body parts using the power of the chop chop fruit. You know, now that I'm looking at them side by
I
side,
wonder what
the
ability that gave
simplified,
him.
colorful look of the anime really detracts from how
fought
menacing
that
and
thief.
unhinged Oda manages to make Buggy look in the manga. It's definitely a poor adaptation in that regard. Speaking of the manga, reading it also means you get to enjoy the wonderful SBS Q&A sections that come after some chapters, where Oda
that Oda
answers
does.
important questions about the One Piece universe,
And
such
Luffy's
as,
dick.
does Buggy's power work on his penis? And does Luffy's power work on his penis? The
Just
answer
talking
to
about
both of
that
those questions
is always yes.
is yes.
Always
Anyway,
yes.
this video would
I love
again
Oda.
take forever if I ran through all of the bit characters, but before I move on, I just want to say that I love the way Oda themes his villainous pirate crews. As Buggy is a clown, it only makes sense that he would have a circus-themed crew, and Oda has a lot of fun figuring out how to translate the various roles of a circus
Hey,
crew
you got
to
7
a
bottles at
shonen
once.
battle pirate context. It is just so neat seeing an
This is
anime
Gage.
pirate lion
Oh, hi.
tamer or a knife-juggling acrobat who fights on a unicycle. And I love that the
So they're
random
all
crew
part of
members
his
look
crew,
like a
okay.
sideshow. The Buggy pirates are
They
just
are.
really fun characters. So are the Black Cat pirates, for that matter. Sham and Butchie
Oh, I
both
thought
look
they were just
super
silhouettes.
goofy and adorable while feeling believably menacing as a Voldo-esque twisty claw weirdo and big thick wrestling boy, respectively. Butchie
Wrestling
somehow
boy?
manages to
What?
be
What is a wrestling boy?
exactly 50% pirate and 50% heavyweight champ. It's remarkable. And Django mixes things up while still feeling at home among all the cats with his
he's supposed to be a
Egyptian
reference to someone.
Then, of course, there's Captain Kuro's design, which is just awesome. Dude wears 10 katanas on his fingers all the time like it ain't no
Whoa.
thing. That's close to the coolest
How can he do
interpretation
anything?
of the whole cat claw glove weapon idea I've ever seen. And the
Those
rest of
have
his
to be
design
heavy.
is equally solid. To emphasize the humiliation he feels dressing up as a butler for his grand scheme, his uniform just has
Ooh.
2 big old golden poops on it. I love
That's
Eiichiro Oda
literally
so
what that
much
is.
sometimes. And we can tell that Kuro is always looking down
This
his
is
nose
Q&A,
at
that's
people
awesome.
because that's
After every
literally the
episode.
only way he can see through his flimsy, slippery glasses half the time. On that note, you gotta love how he pushes those spectacles up with his palms to avoid decapitating himself. I know Oda
Fair.
literally mentions it in the story, but it's clever enough that he deserves to flex.
Also,
a
those are
little
blade
with
weapons.
this
Those can actually
detail.
affect Luffy.
The fact that Kuro won't change those glasses and goes out of his way to smash the nicer ones Kaya got for him shows how stubborn
Jesus.
and arrogant he is at his core. Kuro is convinced that he knows better than everyone all
He's
the time, even
kind
when
of-
he's
oh, yeah.
obviously wrong. He cares more about proving that he's right and he's got the best, smartest
The worst
plans
kind of
than
person.
actually getting what he wants or what would be best for him. And between the glasses and the poop, Oda does a wonderful job of capturing what a dipshit he is while also showing us how great he thinks he is. Now, it's fun talking about
Yeah, he's one of
villains,
those
and One
people.
Piece has a lot of
That
very
dude got a
fun
nose.
ones, but the series would be nothing without its heroes, who are both appealing and empathetic characters and friggin' badass cartoon super freaks who do awesome stuff all the time. Stuff that is facilitated by their excellent
You know,
designs.
multiple swords,
Luffy's
having a sword in your
clothing
mouth.
choices
Sanji only
scream
kicking people.
pirate, or possibly castaway or cabin boy. Either way, they're definitely nautical and also definitely cheap. They're not fancy because he's never really cared about how he looks beyond like a pirate, but they are loose, comfortable, breathable.
I don't even know if Luffy looks like a
Fighting.
pirate.
Luffy's shorts have rather wide cuffs and a fluffy lining, which accentuates how straight and noodly his legs are and allows them to stretch easily
Noodly.
without any of the horrible chafing he'd presumably have to deal with in something more grippy. The open
True.
sleeves and neck on his vest serve much the same purpose. You can tell at a glance that Luffy is a brawler with long reach, and given how lanky, rounded, and elastic he already looks, as soon as you see him stretch, it just makes sense that he'd be able to do that. And
Yeah,
it also
it matches his-
immediately makes sense
how he
that
uses
hits
his
as hard as he
ability.
does. Luffy's limbs are noodly, but they're thick udon noodles with a lot of muscle
Ooh,
definition.
I actually had
Look
udon.
them up close.
Couple
He looks
weeks ago.
elastic, but
was
sturdy.
great.
His design also tells us exactly what kind of person he is. Those loose, comfy clothes indicate how much he values
A free
freedom.
spirit.
The scar under his right eye shows how tough and fearless he is in a fight, but everything else about his appearance is goofy and friendly, just like him. His big hands,
Oh, that's a
rounded
kid that,
head,
like, joined the
wide
Marines,
grin,
wasn't
and
it?
messy hair
I learned that
all
from
give
None
off a
Piece,
distinctly
so.
simian vibe, true to his name. And his straw hat kind of completes the monkey look, evoking both a pirate hat and saucer-like
He's such a
cartoon
simple
chimp ears.
character
It
design, but it's so
defines him
iconic now.
visually, just as his relationship with Shanks, which it symbolizes, defines his character. Of course, part of what makes Luffy's design so brilliant is the way that it changes as he does over the course of the story.
Stabbing
as
herself?
do
Look at the
all
eyes, he's just like,
important characters,
don't do that.
But I'm not there yet again, so yeah. Monkey D. Luffy is a dumb kid who never realized that the grand tales about noble, adventurous pirates doing incredible things that he heard in his youth were mostly exaggerations and lies spilling from the drunken mouths of sailors who rob other sailors for a living. So he decided to become the kind of hero those guys made up and told him about, and because he was too dumb to ever stop, and also basically invincible, eventually he did that. He looks like a kid's idea of a friendly, brave pirate because that's exactly what he is, at least when the story begins. Moving on to the other Straw Hats, Roronoa Zoro
But he wants to be the
is
king of the pirates.
probably the most conventionally anime-looking character in this entire series, which
Why?
is
'Cause he has
super
swords?
appropriate because as a wandering samurai with a strong code of honor and an unbending will to one day become the best like no one ever was, all because of a promise he made to his childhood Nakama who died literally the next day, Zoro is the most anime guy on this entire
I learned that from Death Battle.
world. Zoro is a simple dude who
Why is
his
there a beach
comfort
chair?
over looks, but he does have a better fashion sense than Luffy, at least. His garb is appropriate for seafaring, though not as explicitly piratey as that of his captain, but he wears his samurai heart on his sleeve, or rather around his waist, through his haramaki at all times. Also the 3 huge fuck-off swords that are hanging from it, which immediately tell you that this is not a dude to be messed with.
No.
And make you feel curious about his gimmick even before he takes on his iconic
And can't he,
Sengoku
like,
style fighting stance.
use multiple
His
swords at
facial
once?
features are likewise pretty anime-looking, and amid all these tunes, they immediately make him look like a fighter. Oda also draws him with a notably strong jaw, which, like, of course he would have. Zoro, at least when we first meet him, is a single-minded character who has devoted his entire life to the blade, so of course his blades are the defining feature of his design. That design changes quickly, though, as he collects scars from powerful foes, permanent reminders carved into his flesh of the hurdles he must overcome to become the world's greatest swordsman, but also of the brave things that he's done,
Dracula
the
Mihawk
sacrifices he's made
the
to
great
protect
swordsman?
his friends.
The
Speaking of those
dude.
friends, Nami wears, quite intentionally, very unassuming generic clothing when we first meet her. A simple, nondescript, but showy striped t-shirt with sleeves just long enough to cover her Arlong tat. Nami is a thief, and in her line of work, it pays to give as little away about yourself as possible, and if you can, get people to let their guard down around you, so she plays the part of a normal, friendly, kind of cute girl. Despite her profession and proclivity for lying, Nami is a sentimental and caring person who will do anything for the sake of her friends and family. And the tattoo she gets to replace the brand of her enslavement gives her a permanent symbolic connection to her adopted mother and father wherever she goes in the world. And that's about as much as I can say about her design right now, sadly. Nami is a really wonderful, complex character from a writing perspective, but unfortunately, not as much of that's apparent in her design as it is with her male contemporaries. Her outfit is in constant flux, seemingly for the sake of fashion and fan service first and foremost, and her facial features have clearly been drawn to make her look pretty before they convey anything about her personality. Also, due to the same face and body syndrome, she really looks like she's related to Belle-Mère and Nojiko, when it's a very important part of her backstory that she's not related to them. And that's just not great character design, which is extra disappointing because I know for a fact that Oda is more than capable of making adopted siblings look like family without looking related. Don't get me wrong,
I saw that dude in one of the openings.
And I personally appreciate the fan service. Her design just isn't as strong as that of the other major characters so far. And given that she's maybe my favorite character in the main cast right now, I really think she deserves better. I've already mentioned Usopp's long nose, which immediately identifies him as a liar, and that fits him perfectly.
For the Pinocchio nose,
his lies are
he also invented rifling,
which
is awesome.
All the time, which is what makes him likable instead of
Spoilers.
coming off as a duplicitous sleazeball. Speaking of stereotyping, maybe I'm just saying this because Usopp's baggy utility overalls remind me of Dennis the Menace, but between those,
Who?
the lack of a shirt under them, the sniper goggles, and the bandana, doesn't he just look like a guy who'd have and use a slingshot? I distinctly remember watching early episodes
Yeah.
of this show when I was much younger and thinking as soon as I saw him, now that's a dude who uses
These
elastic
sli-
things to cause problems. The fact that Usopp's
Even
clothes
though
don't really fit
his
him
captain
right
is
hints at his
elastic.
immaturity, while also highlighting how scrawny he is. If this guy's gonna fight all those big scary pirates, it only makes sense that he'd do it at
from
distance.
range.
At the same time, the fact that he is wearing practical work clothes with his hair tied back tell us that he can be a hard worker when he puts his mind to it, and the duffel
his nose
bag
to it.
stuffed to bursting hanging at his waist indicates that he's resourceful and likes to stay prepared for any situation. That bag of tricks is integral to his
What
fighting
is-
style. He uses his slingshot to deliver a lot of different creative payloads, not just rocks. It also, through its bulk, further accentuates just how skinny he really is. And that skinny, lanky, angular frame just happens to
Luffy's
look
not
really
worried.
cool when he drops into a wide stance and pulls back his signature weapon. If Luffy is designed to stretch, then Usopp is clearly designed to stretch things. That weapon
Stretch
is
things.
also Usopp's lone connection, in his design at least, to his famous marksman
Wow.
father. Which makes sense
Oh.
because as
Oh.
proud as Usopp
I didn't
is
know
of
anything about his
dad,
father.
he never really had a chance to get to know him. And most of what he knows about
I-
him
that's-
is that he
what's
was a
the
great
charm
marksman.
then?
So Usopp tried to emulate that at a young age using kid-friendly tools
Slingshot,
instead of pistols,
not a gun.
and ended
Yep.
up becoming a master slingshot user as a result. Now Sanji, the last
It
Straw
works for him.
Hat pirate we meet in
Don't you mean
Blue,
Naruto?
is his own signature weapon. And I just love the simplicity with which his fighting style is conveyed through his design. Sanji's entire lower half is basically featureless, just two long, black, conspicuously straight pant legs capping off in a pair of
Yep, and a
solid,
suit.
polished shoes. As soon as you look down from his torso, your eye is immediately drawn to his feet, and the abnormal length of his legs suggests that he can probably swing them pretty hard when need be. And
Which is
yep,
why he only
boy
kicks.
howdy can he ever swing those feet with
The
skill
death
and
battle with him
power
was
that he
nuts.
clearly picked up from his own adopted father figure, Red Shoes Zeph. Most of
There's a
Sanji's
lot of
initial
adopted-
design is
adoption
influenced
going on
by
here.
his relationship with Zeph and his contradictory desire to both uphold the old chef's legacy and stick it to the shitty old geezer at every opportunity. Sanji dresses up like a polite, respectable waiter, putting on a nice face for the customers of Zeph's restaurant up until they piss him off, and trying to look as spiffy
Then they
as he
get kicked.
can should a lady happen to walk in while he's on shift.
Which
but no
he's-
matter
isn't
how
like a massive
carefully he
pervert or
coifs
something?
his hair and presses his pants, that extremely chaotic spiral eyebrow is always there, peeking through. And because he's got a short temper that he needs
Well, his
to actively keep in check, and
family-
he isn't actually as professional as he makes himself
All of his
out to
siblings
be,
have the
he's
eyebrow.
basically always got a lit cigarette in his mouth, especially
not good
when
for
he's
your health.
working. The way Sanji keeps his hair swept to one side of his face while leaving that cigarette just sort of dangling out the other makes him look very asymmetrical and therefore off balance, which shows how flimsy his calm and cool persona really is. Having grown up surrounded by rough and tumble pirate cooks and lived through starvation and other hardships at a young age, Sanji's
Oh,
the most
he-
mature and experienced member of the Straw Hat crew when he first joins up. And he shows that by being the only male crew member with facial hair at the beginning of the story.
What, that
He
little
is
that little
still
right
young,
there?
though. That beard is still quite thin, and while it gives him an air of maturity, that scruffy goatee also perfectly suits his horny on main teenage idiot side. With each chapter I read, it continually amazes me
accuracy.
how much thought has gone into practically every character in One Piece.
Because
Eiichiro
Oda is a
Oda
genius.
really utilizes every element of the manga form to tell as much story as he
God,
can,
and he drew
as
these.
efficiently and artistically as possible. And the really amazing thing is that he's
Nuts.
been doing this since the series began. You have no idea.
I really wonder how
excited
great
I
his
am to
memory
see how
is.
his character design and storytelling
Because, like,
abilities
the
have
fact he's able
evolved
to remember
in the almost
foreshadowed things,
2
like,
full
400 episodes
decades
later.
Since he wrote the parts I'm reading now. For all
Yeah.
you One Piece fans who are already caught up, I hope this video has been a fun look back
Dude,
at
I
how
want
things
to.
used to
I
be.
want to.
And for the curious potential fans who aren't here yet, I hope I've made it clear just how cavernous this rabbit hole already is, only 100 chapters into almost 1,000. Stay
No,
away
he's
from
only
One
a tenth
Piece
of the
is
way.
what I'm saying. Because if you let it,
Well, it's
it
also like 2
can
years old.
and will consume all of your brain. Of course, One
That's
Piece
not good.
is inevitable. Even I couldn't hold it off forever. But still, for the rest of
Exactly,
our sakes,
it's inevitable.
I hope that you
It's like
hold out,
Thanos.
keep fighting the good fight of not reading this really good story that everyone should read as long as you can. If you're looking
Isn't
for some
Netflix gonna
other
do a
good
live
stories to help
version or
keep your
something?
mind off it for a while, today's
Which
sponsor,
I'm not sure how
Audible,
they're gonna
has
do
you
that,
more than covered.
and it's
With their
not going to
massive
be terrible.
library of thousands upon thousands of audiobooks,
Also,
they've got
I guess
enough
if
to
you want to
keep you
use
busy
Text
for 3
Basement or
centuries
use
straight.
audible.com
Every
slash
month,
basement, you
Audible
can do
members
that.
get 1
Help
credit
out
to
Mother's
pick any
Basement with these
title in their
videos.
catalog, plus 2 Audible
Why is it
originals
freaking
for
out?
monthly selection, along with access to daily news digests and guided meditation programs.
Why
That's
is
a
it
lot to
freaking
choose
out? That's
from.
kind of
So
scary.
to help you narrow it down, I'm going to recommend you listen to the Discworld series. Like,
The
all
what?
40 books of it. Terry Pratchett is
That's it? There's
perhaps
40
my
books?
favorite author
Oh, wait, 40
ever,
books,
and
whole
if
books,
you enjoy
wait.
high fantasy at all, every one of his razor-sharp parodies will have you rolling on the floor,
This video looks old.
often while
Just from this
contemplating
fashion style.
fascinating philosophical and metaphysical ideas. The entire series
Never
is
heard of
excellent
him.
from start to finish, but if you'd like some suggestions as to where to start, I'd recommend beginning with either Mort, the first
Why
book
is
in
this-
the Death series, or Guards, the
What
start
is
of
going?
Guards
It's has
saga.
something to do with
Really,
his editing.
though, you can't go wrong with any of these audiobooks.
Yikes.
Head to audible.com/basement.
Yeah, you can definitely do
text
that.
Basement to
Is that-
500
Oh, there's still
to
like a
start
minute
your
left in this
adventures
video,
on Discworld
so-
today. Or you could read some other books too.
Usually I skip them, but
Before you go,
I
let
wanted
me
to
know
hear
in
them
the
out.
comments below, preferably without spoiling things too bad, who your
True.
favorite One Piece characters are and
Yeah.
why. And
God, I
also
want
what
to,
fights
I
from
want
the
to.
anime you think would make for good animes, because I'm reading the manga and I'm not...
Even if I can't react to it, I'm going to watch it
And
on
if
my
you'd
own
like to
time.
stick
I just
around
want to
on
react
YouTube
to
a
it.
little longer, consider checking out my
What makes My Hero
breakdown of
Academia
what
so good?
exactly
I have
is so
one
great
more
about
episode of My Hero Academia to watch, and
or
I'm caught
my
up.
recent analysis of the fake game design seen in Bofuri and Infinite Dendrogram.
I
I'm
have
Jeff,
no idea what
New
that is.
Professional shitbag,
I also have a
signing
picture.
out from my mother's basement.
Yeah, oh, huh. Interesting. Yeah, the character designs. We already knew about like how the female character designs. This was only like the main crew in like the first couple. Like he said, he was 100 chapters in. It's literally just he literally focused on the first like 100 episodes or chapters or whatever. I don't know how the technical terms are because I've never like read manga or manga or whatever. I've only ever seen like a few anime here or there, so I'm still new to all of this. But that's all that he talked about. And the thing is, like when I was talking to the dancer at the gentleman's club, when I was talking about that, is she was like, she literally said that it was like, it's so great, like you have to watch it, and it's just like you need to see like how the animating gets better and the drawing gets better as time goes on. Like, yeah, I've heard that. Like, I was actually just having a full blown conversation about how like incredible the journey is and all that, and like how excited I am to do it. And she's like, absolutely do it. She's seen every episode of One Piece, and I'm sure you all have seen every episode of One Piece as well, or most of you have, because you are a very passionate group of people that love One Piece. Believe me, there's a lot of people that are just like, stop with these videos, just watch One Piece. Trust me, by the time I get to that part, once I'm 600 episodes into One Piece, I'm not going to remember this video. I upload like 16, 17, 18 videos a week. So I'm taking in a lot of information. Not all of it sticks until like something happened. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember hearing about that in a video I watched 3 years ago. So relax, it's okay. I plan on watching One Piece. I'm gonna watch it no matter what, off camera or on camera. I just want to do it on camera because that's gonna be, I think, the best for everyone to bring that nostalgia back and make people smile. Because I'm here to make your day better, and I hope I did. I hope you have a great one for us today. But until the next video, take care and cue the music.